Welcome back, everybody. Hope you're all having a wonderful day. It's another theme stream. Sorry I couldn't do it yesterday. I had an eye appointment. I had to have my eyes dilated. I even had to leave the Barroom podcast because my eyes hurt that bad. And I was getting extremely tired due to the strain. So apologies for those who are looking forward to my opinions on the topics that the Barroom gave. I'm sorry. I was falling asleep, and I did not need to embarrass myself by staying on that thing even further, because as soon as I got off, 10 minutes later, I was asleep. That's how tired I was. So I do apologize, but we're getting back into the under the radar streams for the month of December, and this one is the Avengers. Yeah, not those Avengers though. These Avengers. Yeah, there was a different movie that was called The Avengers, folks. And it came out long before, a good 14 years before The Avengers from Marvel. So, yeah, that one, it skirted under the radar. And then by like 2001, people really started to notice it because, well, they started looking up the Avengers of a different type. And they came across this movie. But yeah, this movie also didn't do well in the box office, I do not think. But it was also from a British sitcom, comedy, spy stuff. And this movie has an excellent cast. Ray Fiennes. It also has Uma Thurman, Jan Broadbent, Fiona Shaw, Sean Connery. I mean, you name it, you got some good names on there. And good to see Conroy Riker and Vanya in the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in. So, yeah, let's get into it. So, from 1998, I actually remember seeing this movie at that time. I was, actually living in this house at the time. I've lived other places before, but yeah. Sometimes you just got to return home. But yes, this movie, it's basically British intelligence called the Ministry, and they take care of superhero stuff. But they're not superheroes with superpowers. They just they're kind of like Black Widow from the MCU that didn't have the super soldier serum that made her immortal, so to speak, or age extremely slowly. Because I don't know if you guys all know this, but the Black Widow in Marvel, she was actually older than Steve Rogers. Yeah, bet y'all didn't know that. But getting into it, Ray Fiennes as Jim Steed, or John Steed, rather. What a horse's ass of a name. It was a great choice. I mean, the guy he really captured the style of a British gentleman. However, if you went after him, he could still handle himself very handily and kick your ass. Uma Thurman plays two characters in this movie. She plays Emma Peel, as well as a clone of Emma Peel that is evil. Her Emma Peel character was head of Prospero Research, which handled a security umbrella, a weather umbrella, so to speak, over the entirety of the United Kingdom. And the weather shield goes down. They're trying to figure out who did it. Turns out she was seen, or her character was seen, raiding the place and taking down the shield. We also get Jim Broadbent And it is not lost on me, folks, that three of the characters in this movie, father, played by Fiona Shaw, mother, played by Jim Broadbent, and Ray Fiennes, playing John Steed, all three were in the Harry Potter franchise, which shortly came or started to come out after this movie came out, where Harry Potter started filming and such shortly after the first or this movie or the first one started filming shortly after this movie was released to the general public. But yeah, it's not lost on me that three of these characters, Fiona Shaw would have been was cast in the first Harry Potter movie, where Jim Broadbent didn't come in until 6 and Ray Fiennes didn't come in until 4. But yes, all three were in the Harry Potter movies, and they played, Voldemort, Slughorn, and Harry Potter's Aunt Petunia. But yeah, these characters, I mean, I really like how the movie portrayed them. This movie is by no means a serious movie to be taken seriously. However, it is still fun to watch. It's comedy. It's spy comedy. And that's the kind of mindset that you have to put yourself in order to really get a good enjoyment out of this film. And I could put my mind in all sorts of places. So, or in all sorts of different genres. Also, the character of Alice. Oh my God. The character of Alice was one of the best freaking characters in this movie. She is just this unassuming old lady. And she helps out. You see her in the beginning of the movie. Some asshole is messaging me. Oh, not an asshole. Sorry. 1 second, folks. There. Sorry about that, folks. But yeah, um, Jim Broadbent as Mother. Oh my God, man. Don't take the macaroon. Mother's favorite. First thing, or John Steed says this to Emma Peel, and I absolutely love it. She's offered a macaroon. She takes it, and you see John Steed just looking at her like, God damn it, I told you not to. You know? And it's just one of those things that Emma Peel loves to needle this guy, loves to freaking show that she's not afraid to show that she is, sorry about that, stronger and, or stronger willed rather, but also a genius, but also able to handle herself. There's a scene where they're sparring with fencing swords. And there's literally a bit where he attacks her and she turns her head and parries everything he does. And it's like, well, okay, there you go. I mean, this woman is just that good with a lot of different things. I mean, she's a head or former head of Prospero Research to help design the umbrella situation that they had. She knows how to fight, and she also reveals it's like her father always wanted a boy. It's like, I failed to see the connection. That's all right. So did he. But she turned out to have very tomboyish qualities, but also knew how to be a lady as well. And I really like that duality with Uma Thurman. Uma Thurman is, a lot of people don't, or a lot of people probably hear this a lot. She's extremely attractive, but also she was a great actress way back back in the 90s and in the 2000s as well when they did the Kill Bill. I mean, I honestly haven't seen her in anything recent, but she was a great actress. She could play over the top. She could play deadly serious. She could play in somewhere in the middle, in different levels in the middle. of over the top and deadly serious. She could play it all. She could play compassionate. She could play motherly. She could play all of it. And she did a great job. And in this movie, it's no exception because she had to play a hardcore killer as well as the character of Mrs. Peel. And I absolutely love how she plays two different characters. And they do a good job with it. I mean, the digital effects where they show the two Mrs. Peels, it's actually well done. You see them both looking at John Steed, and he's like, holy crap. You know? And considering 1998's CGI, it's actually pretty good stuff. And then, of course, we also get Sean Connery. Now, Sean Connery as this Bond villain kind of esque character, which is kind of funny because he played James Bond. Holy crap, folks. He was just so fun in this movie. He's such a pervert in different ways. He's like perving on Mrs. Peel. And he's also a genius, but he's also an over the top villain. It's just so great because he's like, or this flower shouldn't exist. And he tries to get her to touch it. She's like, clearly you know nothing. He's like, I know nothing. I have forgotten more than what those bumbling fools at the ministry ever knew. And then he talks about the different scientific theories. And he's like, me. The extraction theory, me. I did it all. And you see him really getting very angry, kind of projecting a lot of anger. And then you hear a little dinging sound, and he's like, T? I mean, the moment that she's like, or that it's like, I did it all. T? It was just one of those really disarming situations. It's like, holy crap, man. I mean, it really was fun to see. And then Alice comes into the movie after Mrs. Peel gets kidnapped. Or before Mrs. Peel gets kidnapped. She gets kidnapped after Alice comes in. And it's like, could you do me so well as to hit the ground? She has a freaking Thompson or a Tommy gun in her hand, shooting at the bad guys, making them run off scared. And she comes across as the most posh old lady out there. She's extremely formal. She's extremely nice and whatnot. And she's extremely unassuming, which is the point. Because when she comes up into this scene, she's looking for Mrs. Peel and she's offering to sell raffles and whatnot for her kids' foundation. And then she's like, oh, well, if you're going to be rude, I'm going to have to insist. Pulls out the gun. Where's Mrs. Peel? It's like, oh, shit. You know? But then there's also the insane moments in this movie. And when I say insane, I'm not talking about spectacular action sequences. No, I'm talking about this. Yeah, folks. A secret society that is dressed as teddy bears. You know, I've seen some shit. But seeing Sean Connery in a freaking teddy bear outfit. Sean Connery is the one in the middle, in the center, with that little pin. And it's like, oh my God. And he even takes off his the teddy bear helmet thing. And it's like, oh dear Lord. It is freaking hilarious. It is seriously hilarious. Wonderland Weather is the place that they called it. And it's like, you all know who I am. I know all of you, but you must never know yourselves to maintain the secrecy of the organization. And the one thing that I did have a problem with in this movie that escaped authenticity of being in the UK is that he offered $1 million to anybody in this scene who wished to retire. And I'm like, wouldn't you offer like a 1 million pounds or something like that? Because honestly, I don't think dollars just cover, or dollars isn't the currency in the UK, you know? So, it's a small little it's a small little goof, but it's nothing to really take you out of the movie, you know? Then there's these things. I mean, when your car is being attacked by a bunch of killer bee drones, yeah, they have all sorts of stuff in this movie that is, I mean, this guy is controlling the drones. He's the thuggy, or he's that thuggy lackey kind of guy for Sean Connery. His name's Bailey. And holy crap, folks, when this dude, his death scene, he gets or he smacks into this thing before he falls to his death. And he smacks into it and he goes, "Oh fuck." And then just stop, or then falls to his death. And I'm like, what? What happened here? It's the utter ridiculousness of this movie that allows you to enjoy it so much. But there's also other parts where if you are drugged, how, or you're going to be checking out staircases and wondering how the hell have you not going anywhere in this kind of staircase. Now, this is I can't remember the artist's name who wrote or who did the really labyrinthian staircase, but this is the one that goes nowhere. You think it's all down, or it's all downstairs, but it's also upstairs. It's upstairs, yet downstairs, yet upstairs. It's one of those infinite conundrums, which that scene was pretty cool because Mrs. Peel is drugged. She was sedated, heavily drugged, and she had to find her way out of there, but she was getting nowhere due to the stairs being like that. And then she was ending up in the same room. So it was one of those kind of wacky places that you keep on ending up in the same place. But then she ends up jumping through a mirror, which ends up being a window to the outside. So yeah, that turned out to be a thing. But this movie is honestly seriously enjoyable. I mean, there are just so many great parts. I don't want to spoil too much of it, but there are it it's beyond ridiculous, but it really is one of those movies that one can really, or that one can really enjoy if they have the patience for some absolute stupidity. Stupidity in the character, or in some of the characters and whatnot. But the movie also has a good little a good mystery to solve, and why there are two Mrs. Peels. I mean, it really does have some great moments. And Sean Connery's character is, I mean, the way that he plays Sir August de Winter, it's just such the James Bond villain kind of role. And he played James Bond, so he knows the kind of over the top way that our Bond villains would act. And he does a wonderful job with it, you know? I mean, there's even a mocking in the movie where he's like, Steed, John Steed. What a horse's ass of a name. And it's like, wow. You know, Bond, James Bond, well, Steed, John Steed. It's just, it's a great mocking way. He was the first James Bond. So he is absolutely entitled to make the jokes, the mocks, and whatnot. I absolutely love it. I would have loved to have seen him play a villain in a James Bond film, maybe like during the Pierce Brosnan era. That would have been such a great thing to see, because it would have been like, now how are you going to handle being a villain who was once, I mean, kind of like the 006, but this one came before you all, you know? He was even better, which is kind of cool because when you think about it, there was a nice little conspiracy theory that the character he played in The Rock was actually James Bond under an assumed name, which would have been pretty cool. It would have been his James Bond from the Connery days, but he got caught in America under a mission. But yes, this movie, The Avengers, it just has so much over the topness to it. I mean, folks, again, freaking killer bee drones that shoot, or that have like small miniguns and laser shit. and explosive rays and whatnot. Can you get more over the top than that? Weather balloons, controlling the weather. I mean, this scene here is absolutely freaking hilarious because he comes in dressed like this and he gets away with it because he's Sean Connery, God damn it. You're not going to you're not going to make fun of Sean Connery dressed out or dressed up as a Scotsman of ridiculous degree. But I also love in that scene how blunt he is. The weather is going to continue getting colder, and you guys are going to buy your weather from me. And by God, you're going to pay for it. And they all start, and he's like, "Oh, you shut up." I mean, that's the kind of character he played in this. And he's not a dumb character either by any stretch. He knows that people are watching his every move, and destroys the hidden surveillance to it as well. And it just is truly wonderful. You also get those air or those balloon bubble things that they walk in, which was pretty cool to get across the river. I mean, this movie has so much stuff, but also I can bet you that the Black Widow suit was loosely based on this suit that that Uma Thurman wore, because it's like they do kind of look alike, you know? They really do. They have that very that very common leather look. Hey, Kamen Rider, good to see you. But yeah, those are basically my thoughts. It's not going to be as long as the other ones, folks. I could go on longer, but there really isn't that much to talk about without spoiling too much of this film. I actually want a lot more people to watch this film because it's truly a British comedy treasure that has been lost to time. Flew under the radar so much it got lost. Bro, guess what? We just a short blackout at the building. Sorry to hear, man. Hope things get fixed. Junebug, good to see you. Well, everybody's tuning in, so I guess I can go for a little longer. Elizabeth Hurley was actually considered for Mrs. Peel. I think she would have been better. Sure, but I think she was busy doing the Austin Powers thing. Yeah, she was busy with the Austin Powers thing at this time, or at this time, I believe. The next review. Oh, lights are back on. Good to hear. Well, let me actually upload the thing or the banner so I can show you guys what the next one is. I just need the brand. Go down to add overlay. So let's see here. Radar. Now I already did Haywire, so let's see here. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll go with this one. Next week is not going to be very Christmassy, folks. It's actually going to be a movie that flew under the radar, which was actually a pretty good movie. Yes, there were some problems with it, but it was definitely a good one. Skinwalkers. This one is a werewolf movie that's based in Native American legend, and also kind of it had a little bit of a following, and then it just bled under the radar and kind of faded, but then it regained a following when werewolf movies started to be revived a little bit more. This or years after this movie was made, people started to re-notice it. So that's going to be next week. The ones and twos with Mara are Home Alone 1 and 2. The singles are going to be Mousetrap and Scrooged. Mara and I are going to get together and discuss when these damn things are happening because, well, holiday season, it makes it harder with the scheduling. So I don't know if it's going to be Wednesdays or it's definitely not going to be Wednesdays and Thursdays due to Christmas being on a Wednesday, I do believe. But yeah, family and whatnot. So it is going to make it more. What celebrities are probably pissed? Some celebrities. What are your thoughts? Dude, that is so over or so out of the way of what the topic is. I honestly don't care what the celebrities think. They can be pissed off all they want. It's 2016 all over again, as far as I'm concerned. So that's all I'm really going to say. I actually wouldn't mind seeing a reboot of this Avengers rather than more Avengers movie. Right? Um, However, make sure that you check out weekly recaps, Cayman Rider. You'll get a lot more stuff that I discuss because this is a one topic stream. I don't like to delve into other things when I'm doing movie topic stuff or when I'm doing theme streams. But yeah, I would actually. I mean, they should probably bring back this sort of thing for British television. I'm pretty sure. But considering all the crap that's going on in the UK, I don't think they'll be able to do it. You know, you should review the live action Knights of the Zodiac movie from 2023. If I'm able to find it, I will possibly look into it. Gonna rate the movie at the end. Yes, I am. Just give me a moment. So, Avengers. As I said, this movie is not a movie that is by any means award worthy. It's a literal British spy comedy. But objectively, I will say that this movie, given that it's prone to over the topness, I will not take that away from an objective standpoint. I will put this movie at an 8.5 to a 9. Objectively speaking, this movie had good acting. It had the writing that was mediocre. The writing was a bit mediocre in this, but the acting, you had great actors at the time. You really did. Uh, Subjective, I would put this movie at a 9. Um, you got to be in the right mindset to watch it. So that's the only thing that it has going against it. Moviegoer, if your head is in the right place and you like British spy comedies and whatnot, this movie is for you. It's definitely a 10 out of 10. But yeah, that's gonna be it, folks. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cayman Rider, Vanya, you keep or thank you so much, dude, reminding me of this stuff because honestly, it almost slipped my mind because I've been having a lot of stuff going on lately. A lot of stuff's been on my mind, and sometimes I forget what I'm doing in my own streams, and that's kind of a problem for me. But thank you so much for the reminders every now and then, dude. You really have helped a lot. I apologize for going off topic. My bad. It's kind of happens, and I thought you were wrapping up the stream. Um, when it comes to movie stuff, I do want to stay on topic. You know, even if I'm wrapping it up. But I do give more of my thoughts on different or on my Sunday streams at 8 p.m. Eastern with Mara or not Mara, but with Kate and Ambassador. Oh, but yes, also stick around or tune in for that, folks. Sunday, 8 p.m. I'm going to be talking about, well, Taylor Lorenz, who, because we do also don't always do Hollywood stuff. We do give it a little bit of we do also give a little bit of real life too. Taylor Lorenz celebrated the death or the assassination of somebody, and I think that's disgusting. And I do want to show Piers Morgan's reaction to it, as well as so far the topics are Caitlin Clark as well, how apparently she may have gone woke. And the movie discussion for Sunday is The Da Vinci Code. We are going to be covering the Langdon trilogy over the next 3 weeks. So thank you to all who tuned in. Vanya, Cayman Rider, Junebug, and Conroy, everybody on X, the 6 of you on X. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay tuned for Friday on Janet from Another Planet YouTube channel and X. She does the shit show over there. I'm trying to figure out what the hell's going on with my chat because on other people's chats I can't type in like I usually do from StreamYards. But on here, apparently, yep, I can. So yeah, that's kind of been bothering me. I'm gonna let them know that that didn't work because they told me to do this and that, and it still isn't working. But yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what's going on with my channel and what's going on with StreamYard. But anyway, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. You all have a wonderful day, and always remember to stay humble. Peace.
Are you done? Are you done?